Not for a moment was it in vain.
Coming up on Valley View News, charges dropped against Empire actor Jussie Smollett. Plus, California's super bloom is the best in years. It's so vibrant, it can be seen from space. And Apple released its TV Plus streaming service. It officially launches this fall.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Scott Gierman.
And I'm Monica Campos.
The Cook County State Attorney's Office is dropping charges against actor Jussie Smollett. He had been charged with 16 counts of disorderly conduct after he reported being attacked by two men earlier this year. The former Empire star was in court for just a few minutes, then declared his innocence.
I want you to know that not for a moment was it in vain. I've been truthful and consistent on every single level since day one. I would not be my mother's son if I was capable of one drop of what I've been accused of.
Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel stood shoulder to shoulder with his city's police to denounce prosecutors.
Mr. Smollett is still saying that he is innocent, still running down the Chicago Police Department. How dare him? How dare him?
Prosecutors cited Smollett's history of service to the community and his offer to forfeit his $10,000 bond. Smollett's attorney said the money will most likely go to the state.
Out magazine writer Travell Anderson says he supports Smollett.
The journalist side of me just has so many follow-up questions that no one seems to be answering, and that we probably won't ever get an answer for, considering that the case has been sealed. And so, I don't know, it's kind of bittersweet from my perspective.
Many people are saying today's decision leaves more questions than answers.
As expected, the House failed to override President Trump's veto after a joint Congress looked to overturn his national emergency declaration to build more border wall. 14 Republicans joined the Democrats in opposition of the president, but fell 38 votes shy of the required two-thirds margin.
The Senate will hold a vote today on the Green New Deal. It was introduced by New York Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Massachusetts Senator Ed Markey. The deal would push toward 100% renewable energy. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says if the Green New Deal fails, Republicans will hold it against Democrats in next year's election.
President Trump wants to kill the Affordable Care Act. The Justice Department has filed papers supporting a Texas judge's ruling that invalidated Obamacare. Throughout the midterms, President Trump reassured protection for people with imperfect medical histories.
My administration is committed to delivering a health care system that takes care of American people, of the American people, and like they haven't been taken care of before.
The case is now in a federal appeals court. California Attorney General Xavier Becerra says it threatens the health care of tens of millions of Americans.
Democrats and Republicans are debating whether to release the full Mueller report. Officially, no one has seen the report except the Justice Department. Now, 6 Democratic chairs from House committees say they want Attorney General William Barr to give them the full report by next week. But Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is blocking the attempt by Senate Democrats to make the report public. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senator Lindsey Graham both had statements today.
They would have had at least a sense of decency while the public is trying to absorb what they haven't told us about the Mueller report.
By any reasonable standard, Mr. Mueller thoroughly investigated the Trump campaign.
President Trump continues to say the report exonerates him, and he wants to target those who ordered the investigation.
Attorney Michael Avenatti has been bailed out of jail after being arrested on federal extortion charges in New York. Prosecutors say he tried to scheme Nike into giving him up to $25 million. Court documents say Avenatti threatened to damage the company's reputation. Nike released a written statement saying this morning the company won't be extorted or hide information that's a part of a government investigation. U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman says Avenatti's plan was a shakedown.
Avenatti's conduct had nothing to do with zealous advocacy for a client or any other kind of legitimate legal work. Instead, Avenatti used illegal and extortionate threats for the purpose of obtaining millions of dollars in payments for himself.
Avenatti was also indicted on wire and bank fraud charges in L.A. He's denied all charges.
The Supreme Court is considering cases that would establish a standard for how state lawmakers draw district maps. Demonstrators, our political leaders, are urging the justices to decide that so-called gerrymandering is unconstitutional. They argue state legislators have gone too far to draw the district boundaries to swing elections results toward one political party. There are 2 cases out of North Carolina and Maryland. Between these 2, the justices could find a way to regulate partisan gerrymanders.
LA County sheriffs have identified the body of a 15-year-old found in Compton. Samantha Bustos had been missing since Friday when she reportedly went out with some people her family didn't know. Her body was found on Victoria Street early yesterday morning. Homicide investigators have not released the cause of deaths, and no arrests have been made.
5 people are charged in the attempted murder of a pregnant first-grade teacher in Sunland. 33-year-old Tanya Nguyen was 12 weeks pregnant. She was stabbed 10 times during a robbery and carjacking. Police say 3 men with alleged gang affiliations got into Nguyen's Kia sedan and drove away before crashing into a parked car. Police say that the other 2 were waiting in a getaway car. Nguyen posted a video from the hospital. She expects to make a full recovery, but it is still unclear whether her unborn child will survive.
There's a new hotspot to see California's super bloom. Valley View News reporter Alexandrea Mares has more.
The poppies at Lake Elsinore are receiving a lot of attention, but there are other places the poppies are popping up. At the Antelope Valley California Poppy Reserve, the flowers are just as vibrant. The reserve in Lancaster is drawing huge crowds of its own. Many people are here from out of state.
Well, I just moved here about 8 months ago from Florida, and that's not something that you see in Florida. It's kind of very flat, and there's a lot of green, but maybe more like palm trees.
Lancaster's Poppy Reserve is just 48 miles from the San Fernando Valley. The reserve has 8 miles of trails running through the hills, and the poppies are known for opening up in the morning and closing in the evening. For locals, the experience can be eye-opening.
I've been living here for 20 years, and I didn't ever think that this existed until today. It's amazing though, I like it.
The Poppy Reserve is open from sunrise until sunset. There's an on-site parking lot, but many people parked along the roadway, miles away from the entrance. And at the entrance, there's a reminder for all visitors. It's against California law to pick the flowers.
Looks like you don't have to go far to get a pop-in view. In Lancaster, I'm Alexandrea Mares.
The Painted Ladies are back in Southern California. Valley View News reporter Gianni Navarro has more on the story.
Butterfly migration, or butterfly apocalypse. The annual mass migration was different from years before. The orange butterflies called Painted Ladies were flying all around Southern California last week. The butterflies travel from the deserts of Southern California to the Pacific Northwest. CSUN biology professor Randy Cohen says a lot of rainfall helped plants to thrive. That fueled the butterflies' transformation.
All of a sudden, they decided to migrate to cooler climates before the desert heat hit.
Some CSUN students say they enjoyed seeing the butterflies flying around them, while others were scared to hurt them as they drove to school.
I was trying to stay in the moment or avoid them, depending on the situation.
Sadly, I think I hit a couple in my car.
Well, I thought it was really beautiful, and everybody seemed to like it. They thought nature was doing its thing, and they thought it was really beautiful.
Painted Ladies can fly as fast as 25 miles per hour and are quite hard to film. Some people who were unable to get a good look at them found a solution.
LA's Natural History Museum has a butterfly pavilion that runs from March till September for you to see them up close.
The pavilion showcases hundreds of free-flying butterflies and plants inside, and gallery interpreters can explain why these animals are so special.
The reason why we're seeing so many right now is because, well, we've had more rain. More rain means more flowers mean more caterpillars mean more butterflies. And I mean more. We're having billions going through LA right now.
Wow, look at this one. Yeah. From Los Angeles, Gianni Navarro, Valley View News.
The first group of defendants in the college admissions scandal pled not guilty on Monday. 4 of those included USC's men's water polo coach, USC's women's athletic director, and 2 of their women's soccer coaches. More court appearances scheduled for other high-profile defendants are over the next few weeks.
Purdue Pharma agreed to pay $270 million to Oklahoma as part of an opioid lawsuit settlement. Oklahoma's Attorney General Mike Hunter said Purdue aggressively marketed OxyContin. The marketing led to an opioid epidemic in the states. The state believes scores of people have died of overdoses. Oklahoma is one of the 36 states suing the makers of opioids. This is the first settlement. Meanwhile, Purdue refused to comment on Oklahoma settlement.
Cops in Atlanta are trying to find a mystery shooter caught on camera opening fire on an apartment building. Video shows a man dressed in black jumping out of a dark SUV and shooting at a group of apartments and cars. Authorities found 22 shell casings. No one was hurt. The shooter committed the same crime on 2 consecutive days. Police say they don't know the motives behind the shooting and have offered a reward.
Flooding in the Midwest has killed at least 4 people, forced thousands out of their homes, and caused more than $3 billion in damage. The USDA is warning people about spoiled and contaminated food because floodwater can be tainted with raw sewage, dead animals, and other gross junk.
A man has been arrested for kicking a 78-year-old woman on a New York subway. It happened earlier this month, but cell phone footage from bystanders just surfaced online. The videos don't show anyone trying to intervene. Police have identified the attacker as 36-year-old Mark Gomez. They say he's facing multiple harassment charges. His victim suffered bleeding and cuts to her face. Police say she's already received treatment.
National Puppy Day brought dogs and people to Los Angeles Park for some food and fitness. Valley View News reporter Samantha Rodriguez has more on the story.
Dogs took over the Los Angeles State Historic Park for the inaugural Puppies and Planks Fitness Festival. During the weekend, humans and their dogs were planking, playing, and enjoying the picnic area. Petco manager Megan Oxford says it's important to bond with your pet.
You can live an active, healthy lifestyle with your pet right there by your side. You know, it's great to bring your pet out in public if they're comfortable, you know, with that sort of thing, and just, you know, spending that quality time together.
Puppies and Planks encourages people to be active with their pets. It also raises awareness for dog adoptions.
The fact that there's adoption partners here with, you know, dogs that people can take home and turn into their own exercise partner, it's perfect.
The event included fitness classes, vendors sold items for humans and their dogs. There were also many photo opportunities and a massage booth. Melanie Garcia says it's exciting.
Seeing all the dogs, people come together. This is the energy of everyone being here. Because we all are here for a cause, a good cause, so.
100% of the ticket sales will be going to LA Animal Services as well as local rescue organizations. In Los Angeles, I'm Samantha Rodriguez for Valley View News.
Here's Valley View's Eric Gabriel with entertainment.
Thank you, Scott. Mandy Moore has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The actress rose to fame as a pop singer in 1999. She says she never thought she could dream dreams this big. Since shooting to fame, Moore has been a force. She's gone platinum and was nominated for a Golden Globe Award for her role in the NBC hit comm drama This Is Us. Moore continues to prove how well-rounded she is, both on stage and on camera. Celebrity deaths are set to come in threes. Now it's celebrity retirements. Justin Bieber, Conor McGregor, and Nikki Bella have all announced they are stepping away from the stardom. After almost a decade in the industry, Bieber confirmed with fans he will be taking time to focus on repairing some of the deep-rooted issues that he has and be the father he wants to be. Earlier this month, Bieber addressed his mental health via an Instagram post. McGregor announced his retirement via Twitter. However, this is not the first time he has claimed retirement. McGregor is currently being investigated after a woman accused him of sexual assault in Ireland back in December. Bella is ready to fold up her jersey and focus on her other businesses, a clothing line, wine label, and a new podcast with her twin sister, Brie. Her retirement was discussed on her reality show, Total Bellas. Fast fashion is seeing a huge increase in sales over the past few years. That's the retail trend towards producing cheap and trendy clothing for customers. Valley View News reporter Jamonte Hickman has more on the story.
New fashion trends and brands are created every day. The fashion industry is subject to change at any moment. Stores like Forever 21, Zara, Fashion Nova are known as fast fashion. Luckily, fast fashion adapts quickly to changes. Fast fashion brands make trendy new clothes quickly and cheaply for the masses. This strategy has led to a huge growth in sales, an estimated $35 billion in the U.S. alone.
Fashion brands, they usually, for example, Zara, they can bring new styles to store every 2 weeks.
Fashion stores tend to find themselves in controversy from time to time. Luxury fashion brands routinely accuse them of copying their designs. This includes purses, shoes, hats, and apparel. However, Forever 21 says it strives to offer customers affordable leading trends.
I feel like why they really get upset is because of the fact that not only are the fast fashion brands taking the idea and selling it, but they're actually making money off of it.
One thing that appeals to customers is affordable prices. That's exactly what fast fashion offers.
The price is relatively cheaper, so not everyone can afford those luxury brands.
Fast fashion brands are expected to grow even more over the next few years. Their success comes from staying up to date with trends and offering affordable prices. Reporting from Northridge for Valley View News, I'm Jamonte Hickman.
Singer-songwriter Kehlani gives birth to a baby girl. The Oakland-based artist tweeted the baby was born over the weekend in an unmedicated home birth. She called it the hardest yet most powerful thing she has ever done. Kehlani says her guitarist is the father of her child. That's all for entertainment news. Back to you for more.
More to come on Valley View News. British lawmakers are going through lots of teapots and pints trying to figure out Brexit.
And check the avocados in your pantry. You don't want any listeria with your guac.
Hi, Meals on Wheels. I'm Marco. I'm a college student and I volunteer as a driver for Meals on Wheels. I think it's awesome meeting these people. I mean, they're so interesting. They've had so many wonderful experiences in life. Your community helps to raise you up into the person that you become. Meals on Wheels is a great way to give back to that community.
There's a lot going on around the world. Andrea Tanchez has international news from our Digital Media Center.
A cyclone that hit southern Africa has killed more than 700 people. 600,000 people have been displaced in Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Malawi. The Mozambique government asked for international aid as they fear overcrowding of shelters can lead to an increase the risk of disease. Authorities say they expect the death toll to go up as water recedes. Canada says it's sending $3.5 million to support humanitarian organizations responding to the disaster. Israel has attacked militant sites in Gaza in retaliation for Palestine rockets being fired into Israel. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says school has been canceled in southern Israel.
We are prepared to do a lot more. We will do what is necessary to defend our people and to defend our state.
In the past 24 hours, Israel has sent troops and mobilized tanks along Gaza border. The Prime Minister says his actions towards the situation will not be affected by his upcoming election. The next step of Brexit is now in the hands of British lawmakers. Yesterday's vote gave lawmakers the chance tomorrow to choose from various options for Brexit, including a second referendum, cashing out with no deal, a Norway-style deal with European Union, or giving the UK full access to single market and the European Free Trade Area. The vote may contradict Prime Minister May's proposal. Parliament will then vote on the most popular option. The remaining passengers aboard Norwegian cruise ship have been rescued. The group was stranded at the sea for nearly 24 hours after hitting a ferocious storm.
Water coming into the boat, pushing tables, chairs, and these elderly people, shoving them against the wall. That was the moment that was terrifying because you thought, we may capsize, this boat may sink.
We're alive. We're alive. I mean, and the further we got into it, the more closer we realized we were really close to not surviving.
479 passengers were airlifted by helicopter off the ship. The engines on the Viking Sky stopped running just off Norwegian coast. Sunday, the crew managed to restart the engines before the airlift was completed. 36 people received minor injuries and were sent to the hospital. One person is in critical condition. The ship's captain said the storm badly damaged the ship's interior. The cruise line company says they will make sure all passengers get home safely. An investigation into the incident continues. A flood in Iran has killed at least 18 people. The floodwaters have triggered landslides and roads have been blocked because cars are piled on one another. Some areas are inaccessible by car because roads have buckled. Rescue workers and agencies have been dispatched across the country. Emergency services say there's more rain to come. That is all for international news. Now back to you in the studio for more news.
Now let's get the latest on health news with Tia Dunbar.
Thank you, Monica. In a little over 1 week, 3 suicides occurred in communities linked to mass shootings. Jeremy Richmond lost his 6-year-old daughter in the Sandy Hook massacre. Monday, he apparently committed suicide in his Connecticut office building. Sydney Aiello was a student survivor of the shootings at Stoneman Douglas High in Parkland, Florida. She killed herself last Sunday. Also, an unnamed Stoneman Douglas student who survived the same shooting apparently committed suicide Saturday. Ryan Petty, who lost his daughter in the Stoneman Douglas shooting, says there's a very simple response to the recent tragedies.
Get the word out, help parents and understand the risks, and then get them the information they need to assess whether or not their student's at risk, or their child's at risk, and then get to the help that they need.
After the deaths of the 2 Stoneman Douglas survivors, parents everywhere are being urged to be open to conversations with their children about trauma. Every 11 minutes, someone commits suicide, according to the Blues Project. The group held a mental health fair at CSUN's Plaza del Sol. Coordinator Amanda D. Bartolomeo says students learned about PTSD, depression, and suicide prevention at the fair.
PTSD, which is different than depression, is often characterized by feeling very easily startled, avoiding situations or other triggers that remind somebody of the incident that was around the trauma, as well as other symptoms of depression and anxiety.
De Bartolomeo says there are also campus resources for students who are dealing with depression. Counseling services are available in Bramian Hall, weekdays from 8 to 5. People can also call the National Suicide Hotline at 1-800-273-TALK. The Food and Drug Administration is reviewing the correlation between breast implants and cancer. A recent study found possible link between breast implants and lymphoma, a rare cancer. The FDA has identified 450 cases of cancer worldwide in women with breast implants. The majority of those cases involved implants specifically designed to minimize scarring, but the FDA has not recommended any restrictions on breast implants yet. Officials there say it's too soon to remove the products, and they've also received reports of lymphoma and other kinds of implants. The Trump administration has expanded its anti-abortion policies. Now, no U.S. dollars can support groups that provide and promote abortion.
We will refuse to provide assistance to foreign NGOs that give financial support to other foreign groups in the global abortion industry. We will enforce a strict prohibition on backdoor funding schemes.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo announced the new policy. The new policy also applies to foreign nonprofit organizations who receive U.S. family planning funds. Pompeo says the U.S. will also cut funding to the Organization of American States. The OAS is a union of countries in North and South America. Back to you.
Coming up on Valley View News, Apple's releasing its own streaming services. We'll tell you when it's coming out and which media mogul will be featured.
Also, rap superstar Cardi B is trying to trademark her signature catchphrase. Stay with us.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
smoked 12,000 packs of cigarettes over 15 years. She quit, and now there's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. No matter how much you smoked, early detection could save you. Talk to your doctor or learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Here's Luisa Rodriguez with social media, tech, and health news.
Apple's diving into the streaming business. The company announced their new TV film service with the help of celebrities like Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, and others. The event was heavy on star power but light on details. But we did learn a few things about the new service.
We're launching the same great experience with Samsung this spring, followed by Sony, LG, and Vizio, all the biggest names in smart TVs. And we're even bringing the Apple TV app to Roku and Amazon.
Jill Krantz, a cinema and television arts professor at CSUN, says making the new Apple TV service easily accessible to consumers was a smart business move.
They made a good decision too. I heard that you don't have to have an Apple TV to access their content. You could use like a Roku or even a desktop computer. So I think that was smart, because forcing people to buy their hardware to access their things has always been their kind of way of doing business. I think it was a smart business decision to make it more open, where you could use other hardware instead of just Apple hardware.
Apple TV Plus debuts in the fall, but no word yet on how much it'll cost. A massive wardrobe malfunction by NASA has canceled what would have been the first all-female spacewalk. Astronauts Anne McClain and Christina Cook were set to venture out of the International Space Station together on Friday to swap out some batteries, but their spacesuits didn't fit. The decision drew the attention of Twitter, with Hillary Clinton tweeting simply, "Make another suit." Others are saying it shows women still aren't fully participants in the space program. Cardi B is trying to trademark one of her signature sayings. The official paperwork for the trademark uses it with both 2 R's and 3. OKURRR. Her catchphrase was featured in a Pepsi commercial in the Super Bowl. The female rapper plans to put the phrase on clothing. Airlines are prepared for more flight cancellations as Boeing tries to create a software fix for the 737 MAX. The U.S. suspended flights using the 737 MAX planes after 2 fatal crashes involving the model in Ethiopia and Indonesia. Southwest Airlines is using Southern California's logistic airport in Victorville to store the planes until the software fixes are complete. U.S. airline executives met with Boeing officials to talk about the software changes and pilot training. Pilots successfully tested the software changes last weekend. That's it for social media and tech health news. Monica and Scott, back to you.
That's all for us at Valley View News. Thanks for watching. I'm Scott Gierman.
And I'm Monica Campos. For news any time of the day, go to our website, sundial.csun.edu. See you next week.